Life is a journey, and through this journey, we come across all challenges. These challenges makes us better human beings. We live for the pleasure of serving others and feeling the guidance of the Creator. Join us and explore the opportunities to overcome your difficulties this Ramadan, here on the Nation Station.
In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, all praise be to Allah, the Lord of the heavens and the earth, and peace and blessings be upon our beloved Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Dear brothers and sisters, I salute you all with the salutation of the people of paradise. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You are listening to 90.4. This is your program Life as It Is, and thank you very much for the intro, Hatem Abdel Salam, and with us, joining us today is Ahmed Al-Matani. So, just to remind you all that this is a live show, we would love to hear from you. You can call us on 24602-058, 24602-058. So today we'll be talking about another interesting topic.
Hopefully.
Inshallah. So today we are discussing matters of the heart, and we're focusing on dating. For all of you out there who are shocked, but this is actually something that we do face in our society, and it's something that needs to be addressed. One of those topics that is hush-hushed, but alhamdulillah, we will talk about this. So, Hatem.
Yes.
Why did we decide to actually talk about this topic?
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We chose this topic after thinking about it for so long. And after a lot of hesitation, we chose this topic for many reasons. First of all, it is important, and it is affecting our society, especially the young ones in our society. And I visited once an orphanage, and I spoke to the director of that orphanage, and I asked him about the kids who are staying there, and he said most of them are not orphans. Yeah, they are out of wedlock. They are children out of wedlock. And this really touched my heart, and I was really concerned that something like this is happening to our society. So I thought there must be issues related to this, why it is happening.
Exactly.
So I said, inshallah, in the future I will do one show related to this topic. And it's been years since this has happened. And maybe now we are all matured enough to talk about it. Yeah,
correct. I would also add, that since I'm also working in higher education institution, I've seen a lot of these kind of interactions, if we shall call them, happening in our society in a very big quantity. And I think it is very important to shed lights on this issue so that we can benefit and see why we're having such a phenomenon in our society.
Yes.
So I think one of the things that we should address before we actually get into this topic is how different we are as men and women, and how similar as well we are, as we all agree that we are different physically. This is something we can see just by being us. Allah created man as a man and woman as a woman, but of course there are other differences that might not be so apparent. Ahmed, if you'd like to talk to us about those things.
Well, do you want to talk first about these similarities?
I'll talk about the similarities first. There are a lot of things that are similar between men and women. So to start off is both of them reach the age of puberty, yeah, and both of them develop the desires inside them, and both of them have emotions. Yeah, there's many times people have this misconception that men don't have emotions.
Correct.
But they do. Yeah, they do.
Because they don't show it a lot.
They don't show it. They might not expose it like women, but they do have emotions. And I know men who cry. Yeah. And this is something very normal.
Do you cry?
Yes, I do cry. Yeah, if the Prophet, peace be upon him, used to cry, and his companion used to cry, then there is nothing to be ashamed of. And also that this stage, reaching the age of puberty, is a huge burden on both males and females. Yeah, so this is something very, very similar. And both of them are exploring new areas in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is also
They move from one stage to another.
Yeah. So basically, they're almost the same in terms of their feelings, in terms of the stages, in terms of the changes, but the outcome is a bit different. Which we're going to talk about later.
Another thing that I think we should address is that we all want to be loved, whether men or women want to be loved, want to be respected, and want to be valued as an individual.
Exactly.
So that is one thing that we're similar as well.
Yeah, the sense of appreciation, like whatever I do, it has to be appreciated by the people around me. And it could develop to the love, component, later on. Yeah. Well, when it comes to the differences, there are so many differences. And I want to emphasize, one thing here before we start talking about the differences, that, having differences does not mean there's a problem. Okay, it just makes you unique. Imagine that, everybody looks the same, everybody, acts the same way, behaves the same way. Life is going to be very, very boring.
Yeah.
So we need to have differences. But we struggle with the idea of how we handle these differences, and we need to appreciate these differences so that we will not have a lot of issues. Now, talking about the differences, we can categorize them into so many categories. The first one is the physical differences. I mean, Maya, you talked about, the way we look, the way we, walk, the way we, dress and so on. These are things that are very clear to people. People also talk about, a brain, the structure of the brain in terms of size, in terms of thickness, this is why sometimes, men are called, thick-headed, because their brain is thick, But that's not true, actually, if you talk about the metaphoric, meaning of it. In terms of structure, this is true. The brain is very thick. Also, when it comes to the use of the brain, men tend to use, the left side more than the right side. For women, it's different.
And just sorry to interrupt, just to focus that the left side develops like visual and logical skills, which makes them better at math and problem solving, whereas women, it develops the communication side, and as well it's good for they are better memory wise.
Correct. But for women, interestingly enough, they use both sides actually. Because for women, everything is connected.
Yes.
I mean, you cannot separate, the left side from the right side. For us, unfortunately, I don't know whether this is fortunately or unfortunately, but we use, one side of the brain most of the time.
We're better off this way, Ahmed.
I don't know whether,
take it
but we tend to use the left side more than the other one. It doesn't mean that we don't use the right side, but we tend to use the left side. So women tend to use both sides. Also, the second category is the psychological differences. And when we talk about psychology, we're talking about emotions, feelings, and so on. I like what you said at the beginning when you were saying that men also have feelings, because there's a myth or misconception that women, have more feelings or have feelings, but men don't have any feelings, and this is not true.
And this myth starts at an early stage of our lives, when fathers, they yell at their sons. They tell them, "Don't cry like a girl."
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is not right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because crying is expressing your feelings and emotions.
It's a way. It's a way to express yourself.
So this could be more of a cultural thing, not really. Is it probably worldwide? Or is it mainly like in the Arab society?
No, I think it happens most of the places, where you find men think that you should always be tough and rough, and you shouldn't be crying. But actually, if we look at the life of the Prophet ﷺ and his companions, they used to cry all the time. Yeah.
But they would cry when it be something religious,
yes.
Not just.
But it doesn't mean that you're forbidden from crying. Yeah. But in our society now, a man shouldn't cry, whatever reasons they are.
And this could affect, even, like him, okay, later on in the future, because he will not be able to express his feelings, for his partner. Okay. If he was told not to express, as we said, this is a way to express your feelings.
Yes.
So if you're not trained or given the chance to express yourself freely, okay, according to the situation, then you might develop this kind of, mentality of hiding all your emotions, inside, and you cannot express them. So when you get married and you have a partner, you might have a problem expressing your feelings towards that person, or showing that, side of you when it comes to emotions to the other person, which could result in a lot of problems in understanding each other. Yeah. So this is one thing. Also, another thing when we talk about psychological differences, women tend to appreciate, recognize, the feelings more than men. Okay, we might show our feelings, to people around us, but the value, will be more among ladies compared to men. When it comes, so they appreciate, the feelings, they recognize them, they try to discuss, these feelings, from time to time. They will have special sessions, where they just talk about feelings and so on. But do you discuss your feelings with people around, like Hatem?
Definitely not with you.
So, but do you do that?
Well, sometimes. I think every man has a switch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And when that switch is turned on, then you just get it out. But most of the time you're trying to be modest and not to, express the way you feel.
Show that you're the man.
Yeah.
What about you?
For you're saying there's a switch. For us women, it's built in our DNA. We talk about
No, you for women you're a big main switch. Yeah. So it's always on.
So do you discuss your feelings?
Of course. If I wouldn't, I'll be a man. I do discuss my feelings, but because it's
most probably you're discussing the feelings even with the cat.
So like you do discuss. So this is very true.
But it's not like something I say, okay, today I'm going to discuss my feelings. It's just something that
just comes out.
I'll call a friend. I'll say, oh, you know what happened to me today, and blah blah blah, and she just listens. And that's sometimes all we really need is somebody to listen, not somebody to solve our problems. If I go, for example, to my brother or my dad, it's like, yeah, you have this problem. What you should do is blah, 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 blah. It's not all about this. It's just having empathy. And that's more what you men need when you just speak to your wives.
Now we know why they hang up on us when we start giving a solution.
I didn't want the solution.
Yeah. But, look, I'll tell you something. Sometimes what happens in a lot of societies, and let's focus about our society. There's a kind of imposing process of ideas on people. So sometimes, there are certain people trying to drive us to act in a certain way. Mm-hmm. And they make, certain expectations, which could also pressurize a lot of people to follow this kind of expectations.
Can you repeat that in English?
Yeah. What I was saying.
Are you trying to say?
Yeah. What I'm trying to say is sometimes the expectations are put by the society.
Yes.
Could make people feel the pressure. And they just have to follow them because they are part of the society.
Can you give us an example of what you mean?
For example, the example that he was talking about, expressing your feelings. When a boy, would cry, the expectation of the society is what?
Don't cry,
is
be a
not
man.
to cry because you're a boy. So we are driven most of the time by the norms, or the traditions of our society, which could also obstacle us from advancing, as you said, from one stage to another. We need to live every stage by its own, conditions and time, so that we can develop, normally and without any problems and issues. I think, another thing that, we need to talk about, I don't know if you would agree with that, the idea of how we handle problems. Mm-hmm. I think, Maya, you mentioned something very interesting, a few minutes ago.
About men wanting to solve problems and women just talking about the problems and wanting empathy, maybe not necessarily a solution. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay.
The idea of how, would that show a lot of, as you said, empathy, sympathy, appreciation, the art of listening. But when it comes to men, we are so concerned about what? Get things done.
Yeah.
Okay. Which could
As fast as possible.
Yes. We don't have time. We feel that, we have to finish things as soon as possible or as quickly as possible. So
To interrupt, but women feel the same way. It's just we think of more things than you guys. You focus on one specific thing, and we tend to focus on other things that would impact this.
The way you say that, you sound as if like our brains are so tiny. We think of a lot of things, but you think of a small thing.
Yeah. No,
we are wired that way by Allah,
Exactly.
so we can't help it.
Yeah.
That's okay.
But I guess,
can't say anything to that.
I see your point when you said that, like for you, everything is connected or interconnected. For us, we just handle things, like at a time.
At a time.
We just feel that, ladies are multitasking,
Yes.
most of the time. They do things,
and
so many.
men are leaders, yeah? They handle one thing at a time.
Yeah, and they move to the next thing.
Okay, I think we're done now.
Yeah.
No, I think we just like to agree that we are different, and in all aspects, which is not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
And we complement each other, subhanAllah, in the way Allah has created us and made us think differently, made us react to problems or whatever it may be. It is because we are similar yet different, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And we just need to expect and respect our differences.
Exactly.
Actually, I don't know if you agree with me, Ahmed.
Why,
Today,
you gonna say something about men?
No. Today, Maya is an asset to the program because at least we have the other side. Yeah?
Correct.
If we had Muhammad here today, I think our show is going to be very
I
boring.
have to stand up for the sisters here.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
I was so happy to have you.
Okay, are you done with the differences? Can we
I
move on
guess
to the
these
next
are
point?
these are the main differences that I would.
Before we move on to the next thing, I'd just like to remind our listeners that you can call us on 24602-058, 24602-058, and join us in our discussion. So now we'll move on into puberty.
Yes, the physical and the psychological changes of the age of puberty.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so our kids grow and they reach a certain stage where they change from kids to young adults.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and this is a very, very important stage in their life. Yeah, and somehow many parents find it difficult to start the conversation with their children.
It's
Yeah.
like they're
Yeah.
ashamed. They're not ashamed, but
it's I don't know how to
Shy.
say it.
Yes.
It's shyness, it's modesty. It's
Embarrassed.
some of the parents wait for the children to approach them and tell them that something is wrong. Some of other parents take the proactive role. They ask, every now and then, what is happening? Are you okay? Have you experienced certain things?
So you think, is there a certain age or... okay, so your child is going to be going through puberty soon. Do you
Yeah.
wait for that to happen and then you go speak to them? Or will you think, okay, you know what, we need to sit down, we need to talk
Well,
before that? It
I-
might be years because you can't judge.
Actually, I would say it depends on the child. Yeah, some children are very quiet and shy and maybe not very knowledgeable in terms of these type of things. So you would like to prepare them earlier. Some of them are very outgoing and very smart. And I remember I have a colleague at work. She was telling me she had a daughter who turned up 11, I think. So she wanted to give her the talk about the age of puberty and what is going on. So the girl and this lady was very confused. She didn't know how to start the topic. And her daughter just said, "Mom, if you're going to talk about puberty, it's okay. I already know everything." Yeah, and the mom was shocked. How did you know? She said everything is there on the net.
Yeah.
So this is something else that we should,
Be mindful of.
be mindful of. That in the past, the source of information is only the parents and the surrounding. But now you have Sheikh Google.
Yeah.
And everything is done there.
Yeah, with
Sound, visual, and presentation and everything.
But it is
So-
our duty to speak to our
Yes,
children
yes,
as
yes.
parents.
You
to
should be
prepare
the
them.
first source for your children.
And to allow that openness, if there's anything you're going through or you want to know about this particular, or anything actually,
Yeah.
that we are here for you as parents. We are your source. If we don't know, if I don't know the answer, we'll look at it together.
Together.
But not push them away, says, look, I'm sorry, I'm not going
Yeah.
to talk. You have Sheikh Google,
Yeah.
as you said.
And I would add, like one thing, when you were talking about, whether we should do it before or after, I would say do it before, regardless, the nature or the character of the kid. Because, as you said, you don't know what kind of information, they have already gotten from these different sources around them. But if you develop a kind of communication or a dialogue between you and your kid from the beginning, that would facilitate the process, later on, because they will always talk to you. You know what? I read something about, this and this and that. What do you think? Do you think this is the right thing? that usually happens, or I would say it should be done
I have
before.
a relative who has a daughter whom they did not speak to before the age of puberty. They did not prepare her, and suddenly one day they woke up and she's already reached the age of puberty, and they started telling her that this is what you should do. You should change the clothes that you're wearing. You should wear a headscarf, and you're responsible now in front of Allah. You're accountable for the prayers and all these responsibilities. And the child was rebellious.
Yeah.
She could not take it in that why should I change
Overnight.
Overnight.
Yeah.
No.
I wasn't wearing a scarf. Now I have to wear a scarf. I wasn't wearing modestly in a particular way. Now I have to change the way I dress. And now you're telling me that I'm accountable. If I don't pray, I might go to hellfire and things like that.
Yeah.
These are shocking information that you get to know just the second day.
Exactly.
So I think preparing them mentally and emotionally is very, very important.
Yeah. And back to the idea of like how to say it.
Yeah.
Okay, is very important, because sometimes you might convey a message, but you're using the wrong approach, which could result in a lot of negative consequences later on.
Yeah.
So we have to use the right approach. And as you said, now, we can talk about, different personalities, but we should introduce, the whole concept, ahead of time to prepare them, for such as a change in their lives.
So now we are touching upon the physical changes. Let's go a bit deeper now and go into the emotional and the hormonal changes that we go through.
I think
go through.
this is the next stage that comes after the age of 15, when they really start becoming turning into young adults. Yeah, they've already experienced puberty now for maybe 2-3 years. Yeah, they're starting to have that stability, and they are moving towards being a little bit more independent. Yeah, they're more into isolating themselves in their rooms with their friends. They don't talk to their parents that much. So here, this is the role where the parent comes in and introduce the subject of desire and emotion.
Yeah.
The desire that will kick in every single day, and sometimes it's not controllable. Yeah, and the emotions that this is the area where the parents have to be very, very careful, because if you don't give your children the enough love and support and how do you say,
Affection.
embrace them,
They'll seek it somewhere else.
They will seek it somewhere else.
And you think this applies, we know it applies mostly to females, because if they don't get the love and attention, they might,
find it
somewhere else. But would that apply? What would for example, a boy need?
Okay, I will share my own personal experience with my dad. After I reached this age, which is the age of 15, whenever dad goes out, he takes the boys. Yeah, me and my elder brother. Okay, let's go. We'll go to the mosque. We'll go to the wedding. We'll go to the ministry. He will assign us a task. He will ask for our opinion. So that's the emotion that we were looking for. Yeah, to be embraced by our dad. And it doesn't have to be hugs and kisses.
Yes.
Yeah, but we felt that we are very close, and he is more than our dad. He's our friend. Yeah, he's our role model. He always takes us whenever he goes anywhere, even if he's invited. Yeah, but in a place where they're all adults, he will take us with him and treat us like adults. That's the love that we got at that age. And for women, of course, for the girls, it's you
But
be more
Hatem,
experienced.
yeah. What about like the other kind of love? Like the attraction, that you will have towards the other gender.
That comes with the soft talk from dad. I think our dad started at a very early stage preparing us, that we would have these desires. We would be attracted to the other sex. I remember before the age of puberty, my dad used to joke and say that okay, you will be married to your cousin, and we would say no, I don't like girls. But and then after the age of puberty, at the age of 15, when your dad doesn't say that joke anymore, because when he says that, it sticks to your mind and you start thinking of your cousin. So you have to be very important of choosing the right words and how to introduce the feelings. You have to be very, very clear in what you say, because the impact after the age of 15 is severe, is more than before that age. I think we have to take a break. We'll take a break and then we'll come back and continue with this controversial topic.
Okay.
When I'm planning a business, I need an experienced advisor.
When I'm expanding operations, I require integrated solutions.
When I'm faced with challenges, I need someone I can rely on.
At Bank Soha, our journey towards service excellence begins with you. We are committed to a customer-focused approach for realizing the challenges of small and medium businesses, marking your journey with remarkable milestones. Make a difference to your banking experience with Bank Soha. Call 24730000 today.
Lulu BMW Dream Drive. This season, luxury awaits you at Lulu. Shop and win 6 BMW X5 35i and other fabulous prizes. With every purchase of 10 Riyals, get a chance to win up to 6 BMW X5 35i and 30 Icon products like 48-inch LED TVs, top-load automatic washing machines, air coolers, halogen air fryers, tablets and lots more. Shop at Lulu today and stand to drive home your dream. Promotion valid till 5th August 2015. Lulu, where the world comes to shop.
Let us take you on a spiritual journey through our voice this Ramadan in Life as It Is. Explore opportunities and tranquility with the young voices of tomorrow on the Nation Station 90.4 FM from Saturday to Thursday, 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. Engineer Muhammad Farouk, Janab Al-Saida, Maya Al-Said, Ahmed Al-Matani, and Hatem Al-Abdussalam. Call us on 246-02058 or text us at 90406 to explore your potentials like never before. This Ramadan, here on the Nation Station.
If you've just joined us, this is Life as It Is on 90.4, and this is Maya Al-Said. I'm here with Hatem Al-Abdussalam and Ahmed Al-Matani, and today we are discussing matters of the heart, in specific dating. So we left this at the changes that children go through, which is physical and the hormonal and emotional, and we said that parents should be really involved in talking and educating their kids and about the changes that they go through, and also be there for them emotionally so they don't seek their emotion elsewhere. And now we'll be talking about how these emotions accelerate, these desires accelerate and do, so they start dating or they start exploring. What are your views on this? Ahmed. Hatem. Ahmed, one of you, please.
Azam. Okay, I think in modern life there's a lot of things that accelerate the emotions inside us. To start off is the media, social networking, malls, fashion industry, food, friends, mixed schools, and lots of other things,
But do you believe, these accelerate, but they can be controlled as well?
They can be controlled, of course. They can be controlled. I think setting the right values at an early stage of your life plays a big role in molding who you're going to become.
And I think I was thinking about that this morning on my way to work, and I think one of the most important things is the relationship we have with our Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because if we set that straight with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He becomes like a compass in your life. And whatever decision you do, whatever it may be in your work life, but especially when it comes to dealing with your emotions, because then you wouldn't dare doing something wrong, because you have this relationship with Allah. And the people I feel who end up doing it, they're a bit weak in their faith and in their relationship with Allah, therefore they end up slipping off the trail. But then sometimes only when you do make mistakes, and we are bound to make mistakes in our life, we cannot live this world without making mistakes, do we realize, and then we're back connected.
I think I don't know if I agree totally with Maya. As human beings, we are tested through trials, and let us not forget the element of the devil, the Satan. Satan is always around, and he takes the opportunity. He takes the opportunity to penetrate and come in and destroy everything. And there are many stories in the past of people who were adults, who were stable religiously, who were on the right path, and then suddenly just one wrong move takes them back to square one.
But even also
before that, even the famous story of the man from the children of Israel who was worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a monk for 40 years, and then there were 3 brothers going for battle, and they had a sister, and they were told that the safest place to keep your sister is with the monk. Do you know the story?
No, I haven't heard this one.
Carry on the story.
Okay, so they took the sister to the monk, and the monk said, sorry, I can't take care of your sister because I'm a man of God. I only worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they insisted, and then he said, okay, on one condition is you keep her in the house outside, not in the same house as me. And what he did is every single day he would take food and keep it in front of the door and leave. He would never see her or talk to her. And then the first day the devil comes, and this is how the devil works. He works in stages.
Gradually.
He doesn't come directly and tell you that, okay, go and commit adultery or fornication with this woman. So he went the first day, and the devil said, this is impolite, The least that you can do is knock the door. So the first day he knocked the door. The second day, the devil came again to him and said, at least ask if she wants anything else. And he did that. And the third day he said, maybe she's sick. If she's quiet, then there's something wrong. You have to go in and see and check, because this is the responsibility. Her brothers have entrusted you. So he went in, and when he saw her, you know what happened. And then she got pregnant. And and then he decided to kill her. Because the devil came to him and said, what's going to happen now? They're going to find out that she's pregnant from you, and it's going to be a big problem. You have to kill her. And the story goes on, but the moral of the story is that even
people
if
can be tested.
Even if you're very, very religious, if you're very strong in your faith, then there is always this possibility. That's why the Prophet ﷺ used to supplicate this dua, Allahumma ya muqallib al-qulub, thabbit qalbi ala dinik. You never know. You might be a believer, and the next day you're unbeliever. And people do make mistakes. So there is a lot of elements related to this.
But still, compared to people who are not fully connected to God. Okay, you can see the results, I would agree with Maya in terms of the results. They would be more severely, influential than those who are just, they've lived their lives and they are not connected to God and so on. And there's one thing that I would add to what you have just said is the idea of.
We have a call.
Yes, we have our first guest for today, Mr. Hashil Hatmi, who is a psychologist. Assalamu alaikum, Hashil.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, brother?
Tayyib, alhamdulillah, not too bad. How about yourself?
Alhamdulillah. It's nice to have you on the show. We're here talking about dating, and we would like your feedback about this topic, Hashil.
MashaAllah, it's a very good topic. As I told you yesterday, very interesting. And there's a lot to say about dating in many different perspectives.
Can you raise your voice a little bit, Hashil, please?
I said, Alhamdulillah, Salam ala Rasulullah. It's a very interesting topic, as you mentioned to me yesterday. And this can be spoken about into many different perspectives. So, I don't know what type of a perspective were you looking at the most with regards to myself?
We wanted your feedback in terms of psychologically. What are the things that are going through the human mind in terms of a man and a woman when it comes to desire? Yeah.
Dating is something that begins at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
It starts usually in the teens, roughly from about 13, and it just continues onward. And from a psychological perspective, it has effects, both advantages and disadvantages. I mean, the advantage is that with dating, it gets a person to avoid being antisocial. It gets a person to, enhance their communication skills and how to talk to people. Especially, girls, females talk to males, males talk to females. And, getting to know each other, I mean, this is something general, I'm saying, a general perspective, and psychologically that helps people to, generate thoughts. But there can be some disadvantages. I mean, for instance, with dating, what happens is that psychologically you tend to have your mind too focused on this person that you can't let go. If anything were to happen in dating, and as you know, oh, he dumped me, or, they started to have their breakups, psychologically, a lot of people start to become depressed and start to feel like, am I worth it? They look at self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get a lot of these people, they go to people in my field to come and complain. They go to a therapist or a counselor. They start to complain about these problems that they go through. Even in something called couple therapy, there's a lot of conflict between them. And these are some of the negativities that can happen when a person starts to feel down on themselves. And subhanallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as He mentioned, وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِيَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا. We have made you pairs. We've made you as pairs. Men and female coming together as pairs. Why? So that you can live with amongst one another. How do you live with each other? With mawadda, with and rahmah, with mercy and with compassion, and as a companion, with compassion, being compassionate to one another. This is the benefit of, people coming together in marriage rather than dating.
Yes. So, do you think, Hashil, in the Eastern world or in the Middle East, a lot of dating is happening at the moment? Are we moving towards that trend?
I mean, I can remember when I was young,
mm-hmm.
It was quite popular.
Yeah.
My days when I was a child, the days of Shat al-Quram, the cinemas, and etc.
Yeah.
And from what I'm hearing, from some of my friends, is that it has increased. It's becoming quite rapid, and it's getting more younger. And even some research and some studies have shown that globally, dating is just increasing from a young age.
Why do you think it is increasing, Hashil?
It's a stage of our life that we go through, self-identity, looking for a purpose, trying to create a network within ourselves. When I say a network, I'm talking about a more social network. So when a youngster he or she is in their 13 and their early teenager years, they want to get to know other people, to share their thoughts, to belong to a group, to belong to peers. And dating is just one of the ways that happens, that it fulfills our needs. There's something that we have to understand as human beings, that we cannot live. We can't live without it. The other sex, we attract one another. And there's no doubt that a man will always somewhere have this feeling. A man or a woman always have this feeling that they need the other sex to be around, meaning they need someone in their life. And dating is just one of the easy ways to do it.
So would you agree that having parents involved with their children will probably maybe minimize these desires?
Yes. What parents need to do is they need to teach their children, because sometimes, you can have here in Amman, for instance, how many people are probably dating and their parents don't even know.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing, that's one side. There's another side. There's another side where you have parents encouraging their children to date. You have another side where you have a similar side where parents know and, they're okay with it. So, at least there's some balance that needs to be given. Parents, first of all, parents should be aware. And they also need to get involved, meaning at least give them some lessons, teach them advice, counsel them a bit, to tell them the benefits and the advantages and disadvantages, which one overweighs the other.
And explain to them as well, it's part of them growing up to be adults. It's the emotional, it's the hormonal stages that they are going through, which is why they feel all these desires. And it's totally normal, but as well, I don't think to encourage them, in my humble opinion, is the right way to go about it.
Of course, I mean, this is from our religious perspective. I don't want to get into the verdicts and everything.
Yeah.
But however, let them understand that this is something normal for a human being. This is how we are. This is in our fitrah. This is how we grow. This is how we grow. We get to experience these experiences. And how do we balance our life? How do we, balance these things out? And sometimes we have to teach them, of course, what's right and what's wrong, and show it to them that this is what happens when you do this. This is what happens when you don't do this, and how by preventing, sometimes prevention is better than a cure. To show them that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of parents, I would say, think that this is something will be discussed. At school at later stages, because this is not the responsibility of parents, maybe because I'm not knowledgeable enough to talk about it. Some of the parents I've noticed, what do you
that
think?
Unfortunately unfortunately today that has a bit of an incorrect view. Parents actually have that view. That unfortunately is an incorrect view. As a parent, you have every right, and it's actually your responsibility. In the end of the day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He may judge the teachers, but you'll be as the parents, they'll be judged the most. That why didn't you teach your children, this and this? Why didn't you prevent them? Why didn't you not only stop them, but teach them, warn them? Why didn't you warn them about the dangers, of falling into dating, for example?
Hashel, when it comes to the concept of dating, and from a psychological perspective, do people really actually show the real of them, when they date? I mean, because, some people, they claim that, through dating, they get to know each other, okay? And people will show who they are. They will just behave in a certain way that, the other person will get to know them. But is this actually what's happening when people date?
I think sometimes, it depends on the two people. Some dates, I'll just give you an example. In some datings, you have people who, they don't express who they really are. Some of them could be fooling or conning the person. What happens in dating, so I'm just going to try to explain this to you. What happens in dating is that the two will start slowly express they'll express their own feelings and who they are, but very gradually. Especially in the beginning, they don't know each other, so it's like there's a bit of, mistrust with one another. They're like, I'm not sure, I don't know this person, shall I tell them about let's say my secret, And that comes by stages, so that you have a day one, they tell you a bit about themselves, and you also share your, about yourself, who you are, your personality, everything starts to share. The second day, it goes in deeper. The third day, it goes deeper. So as the days keep going, as more you date, that gap is just being open.
And I guess, part of the problem is that, we have to talk about the intention of this dating. Some people, they just want to have it for fun. They want to just interact because they want to have a romantic relationship. Okay, because everybody does it. It becomes, part of the trend. And we want to do it, So it's a problem.
Thank you.
It's like a fashion, it's like the fashion. Every generation there's new fashions coming. So with dating, it's like a social fashion that, I'll give you a very good example. In the States, for instance, or in the West, not that I'm aiming just at the States, but even at the West, and it's also coming here close into the Arab and Eastern region, that You know, it was common for them at the age of the adolescent years. You know, it's something weird to see that a youngster has not lost his virginity. So that was like a fashion in a way. To them, that was just a fashion. So that everyone wants to be like them. You know, I want to be like him. I can't be someone who's, you know, out of, you know, someone who's just, you know, away from that type of group. You know, I don't want to be, I don't want to look like I'm weird or anything. That's how they used to find weird. So here is just something that if you see that you're in a peer group where everyone is just dating, you know, of course you're going to want to join in.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Hashil, for your input. This gave us great insight into this program, to us and to our listeners. Thank you for being on the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
One thing I want to add about, you know, when Ahmed, you asked, okay, so this person is probably showing the best of their behavior. So, for example, to attract or to gain
To impress,
the affection, of this person. But the one thing I think which is really important is you shouldn't judge the person on how they treat you. You should judge the person on how they treat others, their family members, their peers, strangers they meet on the street, not necessarily how they treat you.
Yeah, and this brings us to the question, you know, what guarantees that, you know, you'll see the person, the way he usually deals with other people. Because as Hatem was saying, we want to impress everybody. We want to show that, you know, we are always perfect. You know, like when you go for a date, you will not show that, you know, you have a problem. You know, you will definitely focus on even a plan. Some people plan it, you know, what I'm going to say, you know, what kind of phrases I'm going to use.
You will be at your best.
Exactly.
I remember, I'll give you an example. I remember when I was a student abroad, we had a friend, okay? We were staying in a flat and he was staying in another flat. And this young man, he was the best when it comes to dressing up.
Wow.
He was always, you know,
Mr.
up to date.
Fly.
Mr. High Flyer. Yeah, he always smelled good. He always looked good. He wore the latest fashion designs. And one day we decided to visit him at his flat, and we found out that he's the most dirtiest man I've ever met.
Disorganized.
You know, what he does after getting rid of his clothes, he just dumped them under the bed.
Ew.
Yeah, he never washes his clothes. He's not hygiene, and he's in a total mess. You don't want to see his flat. So from the outside, he looks like, you know, an amazing young man. But from the inside, actually, he's not.
So dating, you know, can be misleading.
Deceiving.
And you know, you cannot figure out, you know, a lot about the person because that person trying to show the best of his personality or, you know, his character.
Okay, ways to... you want to say something before?
Yeah, I'd just like to remind our listeners that they can call us.
Yes.
We do want to hear from them. On 246.
You don't want to be shot yourself, yeah? You want everybody else to join in.
So you can call us on 24602-058, 24602-058. So Hatem, sorry I interrupted you.
No,
Go ahead.
you forgot to announce about the Facebook.
Okay, yeah. We have all the episodes you hear. If you really enjoyed this episode and you want other people to hear, we have a YouTube account and we also have a Facebook account. Our Facebook is Life As It Is. And on there, inshallah, we'll be uploading a link to our audio of each and every show that you hear through the whole month of Ramadan.
Okay. Now...
Yeah, Hatem, I don't know if you want to...
Why do people interrupt me all the time?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay, just hold on. We have a call.
Yeah, okay.
Assalamu alaikum.
Hello?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you?
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
I'm so happy that my cousin Sayyidah Maya said the number. I've been waiting, and I'm like, why are they saying the number?
Assalamu alaikum, Sayyidah Basma, how are you?
Salam, how are you?
Alhamdulillah.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah, thank you for joining in.
Alhamdulillah, Sayyidah Basma, how are you? We've been looking for you for a very long time. Where have you been hiding?
I've been looking for the number today. And your guest, who's
Ahmed.
Ahmed.
Ahmed, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine, thank you. I just wanted to put a small input. I'm used to this show. I hear it every year. I mean, I think I was with you last year in it. It's a different name or something. Mal Akhwa'il.
Yes, Modern
One
Family.
Of the shows that I really like listening to.
Yes.
And today I think your topic is quite different.
We like to be different.
Quite courageous, but it's good because there's some things that people don't talk about that we need to talk about.
That's true.
Yes.
So that's a good point. I'm just going to say one point because I think I had points earlier, but I've lost them because I was looking for the number.
We'll make sure we announce the number every after 10 minutes.
Hatem to be blamed for that.
So I just wanted to talk about the dating part. So seeing that people, like, we do have people who date Taban, but here, as we're in our culture and everything, it's something that's kind of forbidden to talk about, or it's hidden, or people do it without others knowing how the culture is. But there's another thing called when people get engaged, kind of similar, kind of, but people, I think, market themselves. It's like when you want to sell something, you know, you want to sell a house. You're going to say how amazing this house is. You're definitely not going to say how bad the toilet works or how bad the view is or something like that. So really, in the first days, it's always marketing. That's why a lot of times when we get people coming to the clinic, they would say, oh, but he wasn't like this. You know, he was different. And I'll tell her, when was he different? And she would say, oh, when we were, you know, engaged or dating or whatever. And I was like, okay, of course, because he was, you know, trying to market himself. Actually, a person is very lucky if a person does show them the bad part, which is very rare.
It never happens.
It never happens. And sadly, sometimes it does happen, but the person thinks after marriage things would change.
And I think if it does happen, then you're going to lose the girl in few minutes.
Sorry?
If it does happen, you reveal the true your true identity, then you're going to lose your girlfriend very soon.
That is true, but it's more clearer.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that get married and then after they're still waiting for this person to change. The person doesn't change, and sometimes it's too late. The person now has 2, 3, 4 children.
Yeah.
Now there's another dilemma. So really, dating and relationships, it's a very mysterious thing. And up till today, you'll see so many books written about it. If it's in psychology or in philosophy or in any kind, there's trillions of books about male-female relationships. And if you go to a bookshop, you'll see how to get the best husband or the best date. And it doesn't always work.
Yeah.
It's your own technique that would work in the end.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
So Sayyidah Basma, what you're saying is basically there's no, for example, if somebody dates, there's no assurance, okay, I'm really getting to know him, so this is how he will be, because as you're saying now, it's not a guarantee.
You know what also, Sayyidah Maya, you also have to look around that person.
Yeah.
How is this person reacting with people around him, his family, his sisters, his brothers, his friends? You know, if a female, I'm talking from a female point of view. So if I was to marry someone, okay, I'm married and happily married, alhamdulillah, I have 3 kids. But the idea, look around this man. How is he dealing with his sisters? How is he dealing with his mom, nieces, nephews? He can't act that because you know, that's something he does every time. You will hear him maybe in the phone he'll say, oh, I'm going to take my niece. Maybe he could act that out. But if you see him, ask about him on that side. But sadly, we don't ask those things. We ask other things.
Yeah, we ask personal things that have us involved.
Is he a happy person? Is he, is he courageous? Stuff like, is he social? But look around him.
Yeah.
What does this person do? When he sits with you, what does he talk about? You know, it's like you're studying a person. But sometimes our emotions, love, excitement, desire kills all those other things.
Yeah.
They make us blind.
Yeah. They dominate the whole scene, actually.
That is very true.
Yeah.
So that's important. And the parents teaching their kids 100% is important because school starts from home. The child is at home first, then goes to school. Yes, they do spend a lot of time in school, maybe half their life, but they do have a closer relation to their parents, which they should have. So it does start from home, for sure. And it's not aib or ghalat to talk about it.
Sayyidah Basma, there is one part of dating that parents should aware their children is the consequences. If it develops and if the man turns up to be a predator, the victim is going to be the girl.
Correct.
Yeah.
And especially the way we look at
especially
the
that
ladies.
The society doesn't blame men for this. they blame the
Sadly.
lady. No,
Yeah.
yeah. Both of
But
them are
sometimes
double
guilty.
there is
standards,
women predators, I must say.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's not, people don't talk about that side much.
Yeah.
Because it's maybe they think it's rare, it's a bit less, but it's there. But because of society and how we look at men and women,
Yeah.
we tend not to talk about that.
Yes.
But I think if I have a daughter and I have sons, and I'm hoping I can do that relationship where I can talk to them about all of this. And because I would rather, if my daughter came home and told me, you know, Mommy, I think I like this person. I would rather she came and talked to me than if I tell her, don't even talk about that.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Yes.
hear something like that. You know, your dad's going to kill you or whatever the drama that we would do. And she would go and talk to that person from behind my back. She will talk to her friends. She'll get wrong information. She will call that person. She can do, you can't hide, you can't put someone in a box.
Yeah.
Because even that box has holes.
That's true.
And that is something we really need to understand.
And I guess, you know, part of the problem is that the way we look at dating, you know, as something which is part of the new development, you know, or you're more sort of, you know, like a person who's not behind, or somebody who's not reactionary, you know, you're up to it's a modern person, you know, like if you don't date, you know, you still, oh, what's wrong with you? Okay. I mean, everybody dates. Okay. Everybody, you know, like talks to somebody. So why you're not doing it? Okay. And then you get this social pressure, you know, from people around you, and then you might fall into doing it.
I think it depends on your surroundings again.
Yeah.
Yes, your friends might do that pressure, but as Hashel said earlier on, abroad it's a bigger dilemma because then you're odd, you're different, and then there's so much other ideas. But here, yes, it does happen. I'm not going to act like it doesn't happen, but it's not a very big dilemma, you know. If anything, they'll say, oh, then you're a religious person. You know how it switches to that part.
Yeah.
But the whole idea, when we even think about the word dating is like a taboo in a way. Like even when you hear it, you're like, dating? No. You know, electronically, you know, you're like, no, wrong. You know, that kind of idea. But it's because we grew up in a society where that's wrong. You can do it, but hide it. Your friends telling you, of course.
Sayyidah
But
Basma,
your parents knowing, I don't think so.
Sayyidah Basma, thank you very much for
Thank
your
you
call.
very much.
We
Thank
really
you.
benefited from your tips. And please do call us from now and then, every now and then.
Now that I know the number.
Sayyidah Basma, it was a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much for
Shukran.
calling
Very
in.
much. and
Thank you,
congratulations
thank you.
on the show. I love it.
Thank you so much.
Thank
We'll
you.
just go for a short break.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Lulu BMW Dream Drive. This season, luxury awaits you at Lulu. Shop and win 6 BMW X5 35i and other fabulous prizes. With every purchase of 10 Riyals, get a chance to win up to 6 BMW X5 35i and 30 Icon products like 48-inch LED TVs, top-load automatic washing machines, air coolers, halogen air fryers, tablets and lots more. Shop at Lulu today and stand to drive home your dream. Promotion valid till 5th August 2015. Lulu, where the world comes to shop.
توينجلي Emigrant 7 on Oman TV الرحلة program. Send SMS on 91214. Oman Tel 91817. أريد.
Let us take you on a spiritual journey through our voice this Ramadan in Life as It Is. Explore opportunities and tranquility with the young voices of tomorrow on the Nation Station 90.4 FM from Saturday to Thursday, 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. Engineer Muhammad Farouk, Janab Al-Saida, Maya Al-Said, Ahmed Al-Matani, and Hatem Al-Abdul Salam. Call us on 246-02058 or text us at 90406 to explore your potentials like never before. This Ramadan, here on the Nation Station.
If you've just joined us, this is 90.4, the program Life as it is. This is Maya Al Saeed. I'm here in the studio with Hatem Abdel Salam and Ahmed Al Mata'ani, and we're talking about dating, matters of the heart. So we've reached. We have somebody on the line.
Reem.
We have Reem on the line.
Salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Ahlan. How are you?
Fine, thank you, Reem. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. You're managing very well there, mashallah.
Thank
up the sisters.
Thank you so much. I need women power here. I'm overruled by the men. Anyway, you've been listening to the show. Our discussion today is matters of the heart, which is dating. And I wanted to know your view. What are the consequences of dating, in your opinion?
Okay. Well, mashallah, it's a big topic. There's different elements to it. I just want to share my observation first of it.
Okay.
And then my views is that we see dating happening out of, as you have mentioned, emotional longing, going through that phase of a teenager, but we also see it happening out of for the sake of marriage. And I will talk about the teenage and adult phase very quickly. Is that, of course, as teenagers, as you mentioned, there's desire, that human emotion, and we have to acknowledge that those feelings are normal. And it's about how we channel those feelings. And if someone has their hobbies or passions and they find love within their family, they wouldn't need to turn into those ways. And because oftentimes there's strong peer pressure, there's a pop culture influence, and I can see from my experience when I used to live in the West before, is I saw it as, it's just their ways. This is how they do it. Like they go out and so forth, but we don't. But then when I moved to an Arab country, I actually faced a culture shock, and I saw, oh wow, there's lots of it happening here, and even to extreme cases of intimacy, and so it's there. It's for us to be aware that yes, it is there and it's happening. And so I think, and it's an issue that every society does face, because even in the West, when you see pregnancy at a young age, sometimes you see people committing suicide because of their boyfriend or girlfriend or a loved one. So it is an issue that I believe societies overall do face. And from our side as well, we have the moral obligation, but it's also what I have noticed across different cultures. And I believe the way to go about it is to first acknowledge that that's a normal feeling. Sometimes what happens is if we get the perception that, oh no, it's wrong that you feel this way, or you feel attracted to that person, and you kind of suppress it, then you feel like you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And already then if someone pressures you, you might just get drifted and so I think it's important to acknowledge that, because I remember, for example, as a teenager, a conversation with friends, and one was saying, if someone flirts with you and gives you his number, approaches you, would you tell your mom? And there were different views, and someone said, yes, I would let her know, because the mom was able to have that conversation and not to see that her daughter did something wrong.
Yeah.
The other person said, oh, no way, because my mom will think I did something wrong, that I have been the reason that that person approached me. So I think it's important to have that, acknowledge that this is normal, this does happen, for both men and women. There's women who do approach men, and there's men who do approach women, and for a person to be aware that, yes, it does happen, and here's how to handle it. And that oftentimes people drift into it for the temporary pleasure. They're not thinking long term, and so you make the person feel that you want to be happy. You want to find a life partner, but you don't want to get drifted into this. So I think that kind of awareness and conversation is very important. And it's interesting because I've seen it also with a Christian friend of mine who she has a different belief, but she also does not follow the boyfriend-girlfriend pathway, because she said, I feel it's a waste of time, heartbreaks, and I'm looking for a life partner. I'm not looking to just, get involved into these temporary relations, and that might get me into wrongdoing. So for me, it's about handling it by acknowledging it, the human side of it, and knowing how to approach it and channel it. And so that's how I see it in terms of the teenage phase. And then as an adult phase is sometimes we have to be aware not to justify some things under the intention for the sake of marriage. Because, yes, you can get to know one another, but sometimes what happens, the intention might be put aside, and you end up getting into a whole different part of it, emotions start stepping in. So I think, even as adults, being aware in the process of knowing one another, that yes, the intention is there, but we also have to be aware of the process that we go about it.
Reem, can I ask you a question, Reem?
Yes, go ahead.
Do women get offended if a total stranger walks up to them in a public place and tell them that I really like you and I want to get to know you better? Do you think this is an offensive act, or do you think that many women will be okay with this?
Well, good question. I can just answer for myself, and I can say that I have experienced that, but I wouldn't accept it because I don't know the person, and I feel the person maybe just saw me externally and doesn't know who I am and just approached me. So from my side, I don't know how others would deal with it, but I would say, no, it seems risky. I don't know the person's intention, and I'd rather avoid it. But if someone that I do know and approaches with that in a respectful way, then I would look into it and have that conversation. But actually, good question, because I have faced that, and if someone just comes up to me and I don't know the person, I would not take the person's number or give my number.
Maya, have you come across this before?
I have come across it, and I totally agree with what Reem says. It's again, if a guy just comes up and says, oh, for example, he just saw me, he's like, oh, I really like you, and I want to, hello, you don't know me, you've just seen the outside, and that's what you like, but how do you know, do you really like the personality that comes with the external way?
Do you get offended? So let's say you know this person, okay, you know his name, you know his family, but he just approaches you and says that, you have great eyes and
great eyes.
I want to
excuse me.
I want to get to know you better.
No, I'm
Would
sorry.
you be offended?
He'll have to be more justifiable if that's the way. You don't like a person because they have nice eyes, Hatem.
Great eyes.
Whatever it is.
Excellent eyes.
I would, also depends on, like how the person, perceive that kind of comment. If that comment, will give me a very satisfying feeling that, people can value me more, then, some people might, accept it. I mean, I'm not saying that this is the right thing to be done, but sometimes what happens is that some people would say, you know what, I think, he can see that, I'm valuable, or I have something, to be proud of. And
then maybe he should address those things when he talks to her, because if he's only going to address the physical issues, then it makes me feel like a thing to him, not as a person.
Yeah.
And
that's a respectable approach.
But we forgot to mention the idea that most of the men are predators.
Yes.
Remember we spoke about this earlier.
Yeah, I think.
And when they are approaching a lady, then it is more physical than who you are, most of the time. Because if you really like the person for who they are, you would approach the right direction
and the right channels.
Yeah. The right channels. Yeah. You wouldn't just stop a lady in the middle of the street and say that.
But again, this is another thing that should be, told to girls, that this is men's intention. I mean, I'm not going to generalize them. I'm not going to, generalize them. But most men, this is the way they think, because they are hunters and us women are prey. Yeah. So if at an early age, say a teenage age, when girls are open to all of these feelings, they need to be told that this is maybe one of the intentions that why this person is coming after you.
And as a result of that, because women tend to sacrifice more, when it comes to relationships, and this is maybe as a fact. Okay, they might start giving up, a lot of their rights, principles, and so on, in order to make the other person, happy. Yeah.
And I just want to say that it's very important to get the concept of you have to know who you are first, knowing yourself.
Exactly.
Because then you would know the partner that can be more compatible with you. And I think to create that awareness in both men and women, we shouldn't always say just on women you need to be aware, but also men who want to approach someone, is that if they're aware of who they are, they can actually save lots of, because some men are actually afraid to officially perhaps go and talk to a family, because they might think we get this whole family involved and I'm really still not sure. And so I think it's knowing yourself first before approaching, then you will be able to take a more solid step. And for us to have transparency when we talk about these things, and we talk about, as well as some women as an experience, is that be aware that some men might come and just sweet talk their way into you, and they want to, get to know you through sweet words, and you just have to be conscious. And if we cannot have these open conversations, and I won't put all the pressure on parents, because let's assume that some parents might feel, I don't have the skill to do that. I don't have the ability to do that. So at least if there's workshops happening for girls and boys and talking about these topics, there's a public discourse about it, and there can be creating awareness. So not just putting it that, okay, every parent has to take action, correct, but also us as a society, what are we doing to reach out to the youth, talk to them about these things. And you find that youth, if you come in a gathering, they would love to talk about these things. They would love to, share their ideas and input and get support, and they will feel, okay, I get the proper path to go about it.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes someone just slips out of confusion, and not because they just want to fall into wrong, but they've been confused.
Shukran, Reem. Thank you so much
Thank you
for your
so
contribution.
Much. Thank you. A
And,
pleasure.
it's always an honor to have you on the show.
Yislan, thank you so much.
Shukran,
Thank you.
Reem.
Allah
Shukran.
yahfadkum.
Okay,
we have very few minutes to go.
Okay, but we can still ask people to call us, because
Yes.
I'm aware
Yes.
people might not know our number. So the number to call is 24602-058. I'll repeat that, 24602-058. And the matter we're talking about is matters of the heart and specific dating.
Okay, Ahmed, what does really happen in a date? Yeah, some people might claim saying that no, it's just an innocent date. Yeah, it's just a cup of coffee. But what really happens in a date?
Well, there's so many things happening. I mean, first of all, if we talk about it from a religious perspective, we have the traditions by the Prophet Muhammad when he said, whenever a man and a woman get together in a very private place, then the Satan would be the third, party in the discussion.
Yeah.
So you cannot predict, what kind of feelings the person already having, for the other person.
Yes.
Okay. And of course, the intention, we have to also to focus on the intention. As we say, a lot of people date because, they just want to have fun.
Sorry to interrupt, Ahmed. We have a call.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Azan, how are you?
Oh yeah. Hatem, how are you?
Fine. How's everything?
I can't hear you properly.
Now can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes.
Hatem, I have a comment regarding the topic.
Yes, but make it quick, Azan, because we have a few minutes to end the show.
Okay. My comment is that there is actually no clear definition of dating. Actually, the concept was brought from abroad, and I'm not talking about the country here. I'm talking about the whole region. But the thing is, the concept is if the boy likes the girl and the girl's boy, and they try to know each other, they do it through going out for a coffee or meeting up, lunch, dinner, etc., and basically living their lives day to day. However, when this concept was brought here, because we are a very conservative and small society, even as a region, actually we started tweaking that concept in a way so it suits us and it suits the society. And what's happening is that because of the tweaks, we started putting more pressure on the matter. I don't know if that's...
what do you mean? What do you mean, Azan? I didn't get you.
Okay. Basically, we're tweaking the concept. The concept, as I said, is that if the two couples like each other, they try to live together and on a daily basis. So basically, they share activities. They share coffee, lunch, dinner, whatever. Yeah. However, when it came here, because of our society and how conservative we are and how society is in a very small scale compared to the worldwide, we started tweaking the concept. So instead of going out together and doing that activity that's happening abroad, we actually start doing it in a seclusion manner. For example, going out and in a secluded area, for example, going for a parking lot, going away from the eyes of the society.
On the beach?
On the beach or anywhere where people can't see it.
Yes.
That's the thing. Well, that's the tweak, and that's what the disastrous concept that is being brought because of the concept of dating.
Very well said, Azan. Very well said. Unfortunately, we'll have to wrap up today's show. Thank you very much.
Thank you for
please
your call,
do call early in the later shows. Okay. All right, Azan. Thank you.
Yeah. So I know. Do you want to talk about some of the consequences of dating?
Yes, because we have only a few minutes, and it's very it's fair to talk about the consequences as we have started this topic.
I think maybe a best way to do it is to have some statistics about the impact of dating in the West, because it's very common in the West and so on, and it's very difficult to have statistics here in our community because we don't have clear studies and research when it comes to this. Like here, for example, in the States, I found this in a website called loveisrespect.org. Okay, and then there's a call.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Oh, Dr. Weil, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine. Thank you very much.
So thank you for joining us.
For bringing up this topic. I know Hatim is rushing to wrap up the show. However, I wanted to have one comment. I've listened to you probably in the past half an hour, and I realized that there was a lot of emphasis on how brutal men could be, and how women could be taken advantage of. I don't totally agree that the majority of men would be take advantage of women, and that's not the nature of men. I'm not defending dating. However, I think the way it was presented, as if the majority of women could be taken advantage of, or the majority of men are actually bad men. Because if that is true, if men, the majority of them are bad, they'd be bad either by dating or by marrying. And that wasn't really clear, wasn't made clear throughout the show.
Dr. Wael, thank you very much for your call, but our emphasis or message through the show was not really specified to say that men are bad, and we apologize if that is the message that the listeners got. We're just saying that because men have this nature of being praised, that which is why women are sometimes fallen the victim. I totally agree that there are sometimes women who will be the role of praise and who will go after men, but at this...
That is true. That is true, and I can tell you, I know a lot of instances that I have seen myself where women actually are going after boys.
Yeah, very true.
And that is maybe 20 years ago. And
now it's worse, probably.
In reality today, it is even more so today. That actually women or girls are going after boys.
I guess, what we're trying to say is that because the nature of the society in general, where it gives, men more domination, it becomes very clear to people to see that maybe men are in a position of using this more or having more influence than ladies. But it doesn't mean that we are saying that all men.
Thank you very much, Ahmed. So that was one comment. Another comment, I would have loved to see on why do we get dating in our society now. I don't believe we've discussed that. Why do we have dating? Because having a relationship between male and female is a human necessity. So we can't say that men and women should not have any relationship. However, as a Muslim society, we have a way of doing it. We need to ask our questions. Why did dating creep up into our society? Is it because
we did talk about it at the beginning.
Men and women cannot actually fulfill the need through the Islamic way or the cultural Omani way?
Well, that was the conclusion of our show, Dr. Weil. Thank you for breaking the surprise.
Okay, I'm glad you covered that. As I said, I've only started listening half an hour ago.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. It's a very courageous topic.
You have to pay a fine for not listening from the beginning. Yeah.
Inshallah. Wala
Thank you very much, Dr. Weil, for your valued contribution.
Ahmed, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to share some statistics about, the problems that people get out of dating. Yeah. For example, in the States, as I said, in this website called loveisrespect.org, about 1.5 million high school students, experience physical abuse from a dating partner in a single year. This is in 1 year. 1 in 3 girls in the U.S. is a victim of physical, emotional, and verbal abuse from dating a partner. You see, the numbers are really huge, when it comes to this. Mm-hmm. And I have even more numbers. Nearly like 43% of dating college women report experiencing violent and abusive dating behaviors. So, and the list, goes on. We have, and if I mention another number here, 1 in 3 dating college students has given a dating partner their computer, their email, the social network password.
A lot of personal information. Yes,
a lot of personal information, at a stage where they don't know whether they're going to continue this kind of relationship or not. You see, it's becoming, a disaster, when it comes to this. So this is why we're talking about it.
I think we have a lot of points to be discussed in this show, but the time is very, very short.
Correct.
We need to wrap up, we need to conclude, and we need to give our feedback, honest feedback to our listeners. There are many things that we did not discuss, and maybe we can tell our listeners what we did not discuss: the reaction of society, the role of the partner to overcome this problem, dating end up in marriage, traditional marriage versus dating marriage, which is lasting longer, and most importantly, that we want to tell our listeners is that why do people get into dating in the first place? Because we made marriage difficult. Today, if someone wants to get married, the first of all, the idea that you have to build a house, you have to have a job, you have to have this to be able to get to get married. This is not true. Mm-hmm. We are making it difficult to our young adults to get married, to be settled, to control these urges and desires that they have. And even the ones who are capable to get married, also there is a lot of complication that comes with that. And also the society being very opened up now to globalization and all this fashion industry and the things that you see in the streets, the things that you see at work, all these are contributing to accelerate and develop the desires even further.
Exactly.
And not following the footsteps of the Prophet _, where he says that whoever is capable of getting married, then they should get married. It should be the first priority. To get married. And who is not able to get married, then they should fast. So there is remedies to control the desires. But if we are not following all these teachings and we're not making our life easier by making it easy for our young ones to get married early, and inshallah we're going to have a special dedicated topic about getting married at an early age, which is something very healthy. Not as people presume that getting married at a younger age, then you're not responsible. I remember when I was in school in 11th grade, I had my friend who had 2 kids in the same class, and he was one of the best students in class. So we're going to talk about that later on. Before we close, any last comments?
Just from my side, I think, again, we were very courageous to talk about this topic, as many have said, but this topic is one that needed to be heard. It was time for it to be out there. So inshallah, we've shared some of our insights into this, and we thank our callers as well for calling. And parents, please talk to your children. It's best that you create that relationship, that you're open with your children, and don't let it be too late.
For tomorrow's episode, we're going to have another episode entitled Identity Crisis.
Thank you, everybody. From me, Hatim Al-Salam, Maya Al-Saeed, and Ahmed Mutani. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Never think of change. Be the change. Thank you for being a part of this amazing journey. Life as it is. Here on the Nation Station, Radio, Sultan of Oman,